The mysterious story begins by showing a time when nothing was visible, no humans, no animals. Years earlier, radiation had spread everywhere, infecting people and killing them so brutally that no cure was ever found. It covered the entire planet, leaving no escape. People were dying in such numbers that even governments collapsed, and civilization crumbled as everyone ran for their lives. Now, only a handful of humans remain, struggling to survive. They know that if they enter an infected area, the radiation will consume their bodies, and once exposed, nothing can save them. Among these survivors is a woman named Anna. She roams through abandoned cities wearing a protective suit, collecting resources for survival. The cities are completely deserted and barren because the radiation is strongest there, but the supplies she finds keep her alive. Her only companion is a dog who stays with her everywhere, becoming her sole source of comfort in this lonely world. Despite years of wandering, she has never encountered another human. One day, as usual, Anna gathers food supplies and returns home. After crossing a mountainous area, she removes her mask and suit because her home is deep in the mountains, a place untouched by radiation. These massive mountain ranges act as natural barriers, keeping the radiation out, though it still lingers on the other side. Here, Anna lives without needing her suit, though she always carefully cleans herself to ensure no trace of radiation clings to her skin, since even a small exposure could rot her alive. After cleaning up, she rests with her dog, repeating her daily routine. The next day, she ventures out again with her dog, checking the traps she had set throughout the forest to catch small animals. So far, none have been caught, though she mainly targets rodents that live underground, seemingly unaffected by radiation. Humanity may die out, but rats appear impossible to exterminate. While checking her traps, her dog starts barking and runs ahead, signaling something unusual. Anna follows and hears strange noises and movement. Soon, she discovers a strange vehicle filled with advanced equipment, like something a scientist would use. Confused, she wonders how it got there. Her dog leads her further, only to run off in fear. When Anna reaches the spot, she sees a man in a radiation suit operating a machine. His name is John, and he has been traveling to measure radiation levels in different places. To his surprise, his machine shows zero radiation in this area, something he has never seen in years. Overjoyed, he removes his suit and laughs, relieved to find the first radiation-free zone. Hidden, Anna watches him closely but decides not to reveal herself yet. Soon, John leaves the area and disappears into the forest without realizing she was there. Anna's dog once again followed John into the forest, forcing her to go after him. She discovered John bathing in a river to wash away his exhaustion after days without water. Before he could enjoy the relief, Anna and her dog arrived, warning him to get out immediately. She explained the water flowed from the city and was radioactive. John panicked, realizing the danger, and quickly climbed out. Using his machine, he tested himself and the results came back positive. Radiation had already entered his body. Weakness struck him instantly, followed by violent vomiting. Barely able to think, he staggered to his van, trying to inject himself with medication, but his trembling hands failed him. Seeing his struggle, Anna stepped in, took the syringe, and injected the antidote into his body. At that moment, John realized she wasn't an enemy, she wanted to help him. Anna brought him back to her home, washed him thoroughly to remove any surface contamination, and began treating him with everything she had learned about radiation survival. Even with her efforts, John's condition remained critical, his body frail and feverish, his survival uncertain. Still, Anna refused to give up. She used the medicines from his vehicle, applying every possible treatment. At one point his fever burned dangerously high, but Anna stayed by his side, praying he would pull through. Days passed, and slowly John's condition improved. Eventually, he regained strength, began walking again, and finally the radiation cleared from his system, something rare, since radiation usually destroys blood cells completely. His survival was only possible because Anna had warned him in time. If he had swallowed that water, his death would have been certain. One evening, as they sat outside her home, Anna showed John old family photos. She explained that she once lived there with her father and brother, but her father died from radiation exposure. Later, when her brother went to collect resources, he never returned. Believing he had perished, she never risked entering the most contaminated city to look for him. For years she had lived in solitude, until now, meeting John was the first time she had seen another human in ages. John was deeply moved by her story, recognizing Anna's pure heart and her longing for companionship. He realized she wanted nothing more than someone to share life with. Anna had started farming to sustain herself, planting crops for food. When John asked why she didn't use a tractor, she simply replied that tractors needed fuel, and she had none. Anna explained that she had to work manually on her farm, which took enormous effort. John then told her about a fuel station not far from there and suggested she could bring fuel back to power the tractor, saving energy and time. Anna had never known about it, and even if she had, the station was deep inside a radiation zone, impossible to reach safely. John gave her a special mask and explained a technique to move through contaminated areas. Guided by his instructions, Anna made it to the pump and, finding it abandoned, collected a huge supply of fuel. Now she could run the tractor and accomplish in hours what once took days. While she worked, John watched her intently, his thoughts unclear, but that night they shared a full meal together. For the first time since losing her family, Anna felt truly happy. She no longer believed she would spend the rest of her life alone. John then opened up about his past, explaining he was an engineer who had lived alone in a bunker for years. Eventually he decided he could no longer endure isolation, so he built his radiation suit and modified his vehicle to travel safely. That choice had led him to Anna. Both were grateful to have found each other. The next day, while working, Anna mentioned she once had a generator. Before exploring that, they caught fish from the river, cooked them, and shared what felt like a dreamlike moment of companionship. Later, Anna showed John the old generator, but after hours of examining it, he concluded it couldn't be repaired. She then led him to a waterfall nearby, sparking an idea. He explained they could generate electricity by connecting the generator to a large wooden wheel spun by the falling water. They only needed enough timber to build it. Searching for materials, John noticed an old church and suggested dismantling it for wood. At first, Anna agreed, but then she refused. The church had been her only refuge during years of solitude, a place where she prayed and found reasons to keep living. She couldn't bring herself to destroy it. John argued survival mattered more than emotions, reminding her that God lived in her heart, not in a building. Still, Anna stood firm, unwilling to tear it down. The disagreement caused tension between them, but they continued to survive together, each respecting the other in their own way. John went on scavenging trips, and during one run into a deserted supermarket, he discovered massive stores of food waiting untouched. Along with the food, John also found shelves stacked with beer and alcohol of every brand. Frustrated by years of survival and loneliness, he grabbed several bottles and began drinking on the spot. One bottle wasn't enough, soon he was chugging 2, 3, and then more. Hours passed as he drowned himself in alcohol until he collapsed on the floor. Later, when Anna came searching, she found him in this state and realized he had always been dependent on drinking. Knowing an addict couldn't resist when liquor was in front of him, she still couldn't abandon him. She carefully brought him home, but his drunken behavior turned aggressive. He shouted at her, his attitude poisoned by intoxication. Anna knew from experience that when someone you care about drinks heavily and lashes out, the only real solution is patience. Give them water, food, let them sleep it off. That night she simply left him in the room. By morning, John sobered up and realized how badly he had treated her. Ashamed, he gathered berries as a peace offering and apologized. Anna held no grudge, telling him not to worry, mistakes happen. Relieved, John felt closer to her, and that evening they cooked together, laughing, sharing a meal, and even opening a bottle of wine. But this time Anna drank too much. She kept pouring glass after glass, ignoring John's attempts to stop her. Before long, she was completely drunk, speaking without filter. Through her haze, she confessed her deepest longing. She wanted to marry John, have children, and build a family. It had been her dream for years. John, though touched, responded cautiously. He explained that she wasn't in her right mind and that important decisions should wait. They had time ahead to think about such things. Anna eventually agreed, resting comfortably in his arms. By the next day, life returned to normal. But during a walk in the forest, Anna's dog began barking at someone in the distance. Following the sound, she discovered a stranger standing there. Neither she nor John had ever seen him before. His name was Caleb, and when he laid eyes on Anna, his face lit up with relief. When Caleb desperately requested Anna for some water, saying he was just passing through, her kind heart couldn't refuse. She wasn't someone who believed in deceit, so after a moment's thought she agreed and took Caleb to her home, where John was already present. The moment John saw another man, he pulled out his gun and pointed it at Caleb, ordering him to leave immediately. But Anna quickly stepped in and explained that Caleb wasn't an enemy, he only needed water. After a while, everyone calmed down, and Caleb was given water to drink. Relieved, he began to share his story. Caleb said he had been living in a cave with his friends, but radiation spread so badly that they all died, and he barely escaped with his life. Feeling pity, Anna listened as Caleb asked if he could stay with them for a few days before moving on. John reluctantly agreed but told him he would sleep outside, which Anna strongly opposed. She argued that their home had space and Caleb could rest inside. Their opinions clashed, but eventually Caleb was brought in and given food. He seemed simple and harmless, even asking John how he ended up here. John briefly explained that he was heading in this direction until he met Anna, who made him stay. Anna, happy to have another companion, eagerly showed Caleb around, looking far more cheerful than before, as if she had found a new friend. John, however, grew uneasy and later warned Anna not to trust Caleb so quickly, as they barely knew him. Anna questioned John, asking if he was suspicious of her. She had been raised to help anyone in need without hesitation, and that was why she welcomed Caleb so openly. She even asked John why he told Caleb about a boy but never shared that with her. John admitted he had hidden it on purpose to spare her feelings. That's when Anna opened up about her family. Her father had died, and even her brother had left her, so nothing could hurt her anymore. With this, John finally gathered the courage to confess. He revealed that the boy he spoke about, the one who died in the radiation, was actually Anna's brother, and John himself had ended his life. Shocked and heartbroken, Anna cried. At the very least, she had believed her brother was still alive somewhere, but now she realized John had killed him. Despite the pain, Anna did not grow angry. She understood John must have been forced into it, and she held no complaints. John too carried the guilt but was relieved she didn't hate him. Slowly, things began to settle again. Later, John and Caleb went out hunting to gather resources and managed to kill a small animal with their sharp aim. They returned home, cooked it, and shared a candlelight dinner. During their conversation, they discussed building a wheel at the waterfall to generate electricity. But the challenge was where to get enough wood. The forest had trees, but cutting them into proper planks wasn't easy. Caleb then realized they were considering tearing down the church to build the wheel. He strongly opposed this, saying the church was for prayer and must never be destroyed. Interestingly, Anna, who once thought the same, had changed her mind. She told John directly to do whatever he thought was right. Anna believed that if something could help them survive, they needed to move forward with it. Prayer, she said, would come from the heart because they were a team. Hearing this made John happy, and he decided to continue with his plan, ignoring Caleb's objections. The next day, they began dismantling the church for wood to build the wheel. Caleb disliked this, but the plan had to move forward. One by one, they pulled out the wooden beams, and John focused on constructing the wheel's frame. Meanwhile, Anna and Caleb were laughing, joking, and talking, quickly forming a bond. Watching their closeness made John jealous because, deep down, he also cared for Anna, and seeing her get so comfortable with someone else bothered him. Still, he pushed those feelings aside to concentrate on building the wheel. That night, however, John angrily called Anna over and told her she was free to choose her own partner but warned her to take time to truly understand Caleb before moving closer to him. Anna was caught off guard, began crying, and explained that she was only spending time with Caleb because he was living with them, he was just a good friend. The conversation turned tense, and Anna stormed off upset. The following day, construction on the wheel continued intensely, and after hours of work, more than half of it was complete. They hoped once it was finished, they could power the generator and finally produce electricity. To celebrate, the three of them held a small party, a candlelight dinner with good food and wine, enjoying it as if they were dining in a 5-star hotel. Later, feeling hot, they went to an artificial pond to cool off. There, like children, they splashed, laughed, and played. Eventually, they came up with a game using beer bottles. They would toss a bottle underwater, and whoever retrieved it would win. John and Caleb went first and easily found the bottles. When it was Anna's turn, she touched the bottle but pretended she couldn't grab it, looking toward Caleb for help. John noticed this and felt hurt. She could have asked him instead. Caleb dove in to assist, and the two ended up close together underwater, which John watched bitterly from above. The bottle was within Anna's reach, but she had clearly staged the moment just to bring Caleb near her. This deepened John's anger and frustration. Soon after, John decided to confront Anna, asking if she was ready to marry him. Anna was troubled. She had once proposed marriage to John, but he brushed it aside. Now, when she was starting to like Caleb, John suddenly wanted to marry her. She brought him into her room, but instead of doing anything, John drank so much alcohol that he passed out. Anna tried to wake him, but he wouldn't respond. Feeling completely alone, Anna went straight to Caleb's room that night. The two of them stayed together in the same room, sharing the entire night. By morning, Anna was sitting at the desk when John walked in and noticed Caleb sitting close beside her, gently touching her arm. Their behavior made it clear that Anna and Caleb had grown very comfortable with each other, something that instantly stung John. The sight unsettled him deeply. Later, when John and Caleb were working side by side, John forced a smile and pretended that Caleb's presence had made him happier. But Caleb, sharp enough to read between the lines, realized that John secretly wished he had never come at all. After all, Caleb's arrival was slowly pulling Anna away from John. Both men were painfully aware of this truth. Soon, the two carried a massive wheel to the waterfall, preparing to fit it in place. The wheel was already complete, what remained was securing it properly. John positioned himself higher up the rocks while Caleb, dressed in a protective radioactive suit, held the wheel steady. Both of them worked with equal effort to align it. Finally, the wheel was fixed into place. As Caleb began climbing back up, his foot suddenly slipped. Luckily, he was tied to a rope that John was holding from above. John pulled with all his strength to keep Caleb from falling, his hands straining as he hauled him upward. John pulled with all his strength, trying to get Caleb safely to the top. For the first time, John had genuinely helped him, offering both guidance and physical support. But just as Caleb reached the upper ledge, his foot slipped again. In that tense moment, John and Caleb locked eyes. There was a silent understanding between them, as if they could read each other's emotions. Yet on John's face, a storm brewed, a mix of anger, frustration, and almost violent intensity, as though he could explode at any second. The tension hung between them, a silent battle of wills, until the scene cut, shifting directly to John approaching Anna. Anna was sitting there, clearly upset. Her voice trembled as she confessed the truth to John. The previous night, she had felt overwhelmingly lonely. She had drunk too much alcohol, and in her vulnerable state, she had sought comfort by going to Caleb's side and spending the night with him. John felt a sharp sting of hurt at first, but he understood the circumstances and chose to forgive her. Anna's face brightened slightly, relieved that John wasn't angry. But before she could settle into that relief, John revealed another startling fact. Caleb had taken John's radioactive suit and thanked them for taking care of him all this time. Essentially, Caleb had left on his own path, possibly forever. Anna froze, shocked. Something about John's words didn't sit right with her. How could Caleb just leave like that? A seed of doubt crept into her mind. Without wasting a moment, she rushed to the waterfall, hoping to find him. She searched every corner, calling out, but there was no sign of Caleb anywhere. Her heart raced, a mix of worry and fear gnawing at her. Anna's mind was racing with one haunting question: had John actually killed Caleb? She couldn't ignore the unease gnawing at her, even though John never admitted anything directly. Every subtle expression, every twitch of his face seemed to reveal truths he wouldn't say out loud. Anna felt a deep anxiety settle over her. Whatever had happened, whatever she might have lost, there was no going back now. Meanwhile, John turned his attention back to the massive wheel they had installed at the waterfall. With careful wiring and a few final adjustments, he activated the generator. Slowly at first, then with growing hums of electricity, the system came to life. Lights flickered, appliances powered up, and the once silent cabin now buzzed with energy. Anna noticed the results and felt a fleeting sense of happiness, a small relief amid her swirling doubts. But the shadow of suspicion toward John still lingered in her mind. She had countless questions, yet she knew John would never reveal the full truth. Seeking a moment of calm, Anna moved toward an old piano that had been kept in the church before they repurposed the wood. She sat down, fingers brushing the keys, letting the music flow, a soft escape from her tangled thoughts. John approached quietly, and when Anna gave him a glance, her eyes held a mixture of trust, wariness, and suspicion. It was clear that their bond had shifted. After everything that had transpired, the secrets, the survival, the tension, Anna might never fully trust John again. And with that unresolved tension lingering, the story draws to a close. This is how our story ends here.